What's going on, everyone? Carolina Buzz here. And today we're going to be talking about the Charlotte Hornets once again because it's trade deadline time. And I just want to talk about my wish list, not for players. I'll do that maybe later today. That's hard to do because there's players that I want, but does it seem realistic? But then we just saw Luka get traded. But then, it's like, we can't expect that every time. There's just a lot that goes into it. So it's really hard to just think about what I think the Hornets should do as far as exact personnel, but we can't talk about archetype and the archetypes I think we need and positions I think we need. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into that. This is going to be a short video because as time goes on, there could be a trade while I'm recording this video. So I don't want to spend too much time on these videos when something could happen and then I need to record and do that. But anyway, what I think the Charlotte Hornets need, one, and this is just player specific because there's a lot of things I think the Charlotte Hornets need, like direction, but we'll talk about that. I think the biggest thing that I feel as though we need is a backup point guard. With LaMelo's injury history, with them trying to preserve him and all these things, there needs to be a backup point guard, and there's no way you can have a backup point guard that is as good as LaMelo or whatever, because then they wouldn't be a backup point guard. But you need to not fall off a cliff. I think that in years past, I've said that I really like the Dennis Smith Jr. pick, and I still do. I still liked. I don't know if he could do it this year. I mean, he did it last year, so I don't think much has changed as far as his defensive effort and his ability to play defense. But we kind of have enough of that right now. I think that we should maybe look to get a point guard that's similar to LaMelo in just terms of play style and just maybe not like how LaMelo plays exactly to a T, but just a guy that's a little, can pass, can create his own shot, things like that, just because I think it allows the offense to continue to be themselves without having to fall apart, because we see that most nights with Micic when he goes out there, who I do actually believe has some tendency, shares some tendencies with LaMelo, which that's a big reason why I was open to him being a backup point guard just until we, really get it figured out. And I was like, okay, that has it on lock for now until we can fill out some other stuff. But then his shot selection is poor, and it's not like he hits the way LaMelo does. So there's some, issues there. But I do think we just need a point guard that can distribute the ball, but also be able to find their own shot. And they need to be kind of good. They don't need to be just like the dramatic jump or dump off that it is now. So I think that's something we should look at. We have NSJ, we have Trey Mann, but neither of those guys are guys that I would be confident in if LaMelo were to miss time or whatever and be our backup point guard. I think we need a true backup point guard. We've seen two iterations of Trey Mann. We saw last year he was really passive, and then this year he was dribble heavy before he got injured. So it's hard to say that Trey Mann could be your backup point guard when you don't know what version of Trey Mann you're going to get. I know that systems have changed and what's expected of him has changed, so maybe that plays a part into what's changed for him. But consider he's only played 14 games, we just don't know. And I've always felt, even before Trey Mann was here, that he was more of a shooting guard, even though he can pass. He's just way more of a shooting guard. Same goes for NSJ. Another thing I would like for us to add is size, but size in general, because I think we need some 3-and-D guys with size. The two 3-and-D guys we got are Josh Okogie and Josh Green. I almost said Josh Hart. And they're both 6'4", 6'5". We need some guys 6'7", 6'8", some size to play defense. I think that's going to be a big thing for us. A big part of that also is we need Brandon and we need Miles to play defense. I mentioned in the video yesterday that they just haven't not been as good defensively as you would want them to be. So I need the uptick in that from them, but we do need players who can shoot and have that size on defense. Speaking of size, I also meant size that can shoot in general and maybe not even play defense, but like that Bertans. We saw how much having Bertans on the team last year opened up just the lanes and shots for other players on the team, and I think that we continuously need something like that. It doesn't have to be Bertans, obviously, but I think we need a guy that's taller than 6'8" that can shoot, because we don't have one, and every team has one. And I think that having a guy that can shoot like that in general will open up a lot for players. But considering we have so many guys that are on, maybe not even the shorter side, but just guys who are not, these real tall shooters, I think that we should just focus on getting a real tall shooter. It doesn't have to be someone that's perfect. It just has to be someone that we can rely on to play, someone that could be a microwave. If I could take Seth Curry, which more than likely he's about to retire soon, if I could take him and replace him with someone that's taller, if they could do his role but be taller, I would be happy with that. It doesn't have to be a superstar. If it is, I'll take it, of course, but I'm not looking for that. I think that just having someone that size that can stretch the floor just opens it up for everybody else. We saw exactly what he did last year, and I think that, the times they're able to catch hot the way Bertans was, I mean, look, man, I'm taking it. The last thing I think we really need is I think we need someone to be able to create their own shot. And Trey Man's able to do it. Nick Smith Jr. kinda. Well, he can, but it's just like we're still trying to get out, the crux of that. LaMelo can, and then that's really it. I mean, Miles Bridges, it just depends on what days he wants to go to the rim, but I think he can at the rim. But in general, he typically struggles. We know Brandon Miller typically struggles. So I think we just need one more person, and maybe that could be in the backup guard. So maybe that's two players at once. But we just need someone that can create their own shot. And if Trey Man's gone, then we really, really need that. There's no guarantee Trey Man will be back. There is no guarantee. I would like him back, but there is no guarantee he will be back. So we really need someone to be able to create their own shot. Once again, I would prefer them to be a little taller. You could look at the likes of Cody and maybe replace him with someone that can be okay on defense, but pretty good offensively and able to create for themselves a little bit, specifically against second units. They don't have to be able to do it against first teams. So that's really it. Like I said, I want to keep it short because the news will be coming all day. There's already talks that now that the Milwaukee Bucks have traded Chris Middleton for Kyle Kuzma, they're under the second apron. This allows them to trade guys like Pat Connaughton, who we've been rumored to get, not because he's good, but more so it allows them to get Cody, and then we get some picks off that. So there's just a lot going on, and so I just want to make sure I popped in, said what I needed to say before any breaking news popped up. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys more than likely later. Peace.